Okay, we're back and we're on to lesson 2. Lesson 1 is a big day. Lesson 2 is also a big day. I want you to remember that as you go through the 10-day cycle, there is a lesser amount of material that is in days 8, 9, and 10. And so if you go over into the next day, it's okay because you have that slush time or places where you can make things up. There's also the extra 6th week, and because you have the extra 6th week in your schedule, you'll be able to also play with a little bit of time to be able to have kids do the rigorous content that is contained in this section of Wonders. So now we're on to day 2. Here you see where you will be starting that reread portion, and so you'll see those green icons. And it says lesson 2 in your teacher manual. Here you have your learning goals listed and how you will do your formative assessment with students. You have the ask and answer questions, so a little mini lesson about what you'll explain. Also any supports for English language learners that are right here. And there will be materials that are in the student reading writing companion, the soft book for the students. And so those are all there for you. You won't have to do any running off. So that's the first mini lesson. In the first mini lesson, you'll be using the reread strategy. It's always an I do, we do, and then you do. So here you see some of those components listed out, and you're asking students to find the text evidence. There are always quick tips listed for the students, and I would highlight those for the students as it helps them to be able to answer. Notice that there's always collaborative talk. This will be essential for you to set up those routines in your classroom in Unit 1, Lesson 1 and 2 of what those routines will be, because students have to talk in order to write, and they're starting to write on this day. So in the first mini lesson, reread, you'll be doing asking and answer questions. You'll do a gradual release of responsibility and that formative assessment. There is also a second mini lesson that is taught, and it is going to be the reread skill. And so if you need to have some of those instructional routines, you can reference them in the Instructional Routines Handbook. Here, the skill to help them have the comprehension is text features for this one. There is a map that was provided for the students, so that will be re-highlighted here in their Reader's Writer's Companion, the Reading Writing Companion. And the students will also be doing the third mini lesson, which is chronology. So they'll be talking about how the text structure does that chronology, an event, an event, an event in a narrative. You will be guiding them through that in that guided practice. This feels like a lot, but actually the students connect to it really well and are highly engaged. And hopefully you saw that in the films that you watched previously. So we just talked about that there's a graphic organizer, and you'll also have the formative assessment. There is another optional mini lesson on the craft and structure. So for those of you that need more mini lessons, that will be referenced, and you'll see a page that looks like this. If you need less mini lessons, then you can choose not to do this because it is optional. And this is those parts that go to those mini lessons that you can see. The very last part of your lesson 2 is where you're teaching analytical writing. And this is where students will write about the text. There is a short prompt that is here in the Reading Writing Companion. And when you go to that short prompt, you will see that text that is highlighted right here. It gives students some sentence frames and other quick tips to support them along the way. And notice that they're also rating themselves in that formative assessment. Here it gives you supports on how to teach how to analyze the prompt, how to analyze that and provide the text evidence, and then how they might respond. And so here, after they've done all that collaborative talking about the shared read, they've provided text evidence, you've given many lessons, they are able to respond here. In my experience, they even had some components where kids who were, that the teacher reflected from the classroom that we used, they didn't do a lot of writing. They were students that didn't always produce a lot of writing, but every kid produced writing in the room where we did that sample teaching. So you also will have that same experience. So go ahead and let's review the goals for day 2. You're going to do the shared read. You're going to have mini lessons. You're going to ask students to respond to the reading. You're not doing the phonics or fluency or research and inquiry, and expanded vocabulary is not required. So this is where your focus is for day 2. Those items are listed with time elements next to them that can help you to guide how you'll plan your instruction. So this concludes the day 2, and the next video will be about lessons 3 and 4. Go ahead and stop and plan your day 2.